Welcome to DOWL Team Talk. I'm Stewart Osgood, the President and CEO of DOWL, and I'm here to participate in a series called Ask the Boss. We've had questions submitted from employees in 4 separate categories, including professional development, DOWL's future, internal management, and client management. Today I'm going to focus on the client management questions, and there'll be one personal question tossed in to keep me on my toes. The question is, what did you do before you were the boss? I joined DOWL in 1994, and I was a freshly minted professional engineer at the time, and mostly did professional development, commercial development work in Anchorage. The firm had a initiative to get into public sector work at that time, and we got close on a couple of projects. One was the Kincaid Park Access Road that we finished second on, but our big breakthrough came with the redevelopment of 15th Avenue, and that really set the course for us to grow in the public sector arena with the municipality of Anchorage, later with DOT, and then ultimately with a lot of other public sector organizations. I was kind of moved up into project management role, and then eventually was the vice president, and I've been the president of the organization since 2002. How do you handle a situation where you were asked to do something that you thought was ethically uncomfortable? I think this has happened to me maybe several times in my career, maybe a half dozen. And one thing I would say is that whenever you're asked to do something you're not comfortable with, it's good to not react to that, but to take some time to think about it. You can counsel with some people around you, or maybe a mentor that you have. I think it's always good to go back to our charter as an organization and think about those words of honesty and integrity and relationships and exemplary professional service, and then ultimately make a decision. Often we know what the right decision is. It's just tough to implement it, or it's uncomfortable to implement it. If you need help, there are a lot of people here on your team pulling for you that can push back on situations like that. And occasionally we lose clients over things like that, but we maintain our trueness to our charter, and that's really the most important thing. Are there early signs that I should look for to be able to tell that a client is unhappy or that the project is going poorly? Well, I think that payment is always an issue. If you have a client that's been paying all along and suddenly they become non-communicative and they're not paying their invoices, that's kind of a good that's a sign. It's a bad sign, but it's a typical sign of a client that isn't happy. I think that if the tone of discussions becomes different or more sharp, that's another thing. I think that when you see these signs or these storm clouds, it's good to maybe go to somebody who's your mentor, or who is working with you or adjacent to you, and have them go talk to your client. Your client will be much more apt to be honest and forthright with somebody who's a neutral observer, as opposed to going in and being honest with you about them not being happy with your performance. So kind of depersonalize it and turn it into maybe even into a win in some cases, where we can go and make course corrections and build those clients for life out of a bad situation, or a situation that's not so great. How do we sell value to our clients? I think that when we start to view ourselves as selling hours to clients, we become less valuable. When we sell results to clients, we become valuable. We're a project-related company. Lump sum contracting drives that point home. We will do this for you for this amount of money. Not, we're going to charge you $135 an hour for as much time as we can possibly write down on our timesheet and get you to pay. So I would say that lump sum contracting is a wonderful vehicle for us to actually get paid for the value we add. And I would also say that design build and CMGC work is also a great way for us to add value and get paid for the value that we add to projects, because we stop being sellers of hours. I'd encourage all of you, no matter how obtuse the services are that you're offering. I've heard it all my career. My service is special. I can't possibly do it on a lump sum basis. And we've turned around most of the thinking in the company based upon that. And I would submit that we could do that with your services as well. What makes a client good? This is one that I think we always need to think about. First of all, we need to have a client that has a repeated need for our services. And that's why some of our public sector clients who are maintaining infrastructure and building new infrastructure are very good clients. Year in and year out, they're going to need our services. Clients that pay us and pay us in a timely way, clients that don't sue us, that don't tend to be litigious, but that are in it as problem solvers, not having their attorneys try to jump in on any time a project doesn't go quite well. And the last thing I'd say is clients need to be fun to work with. In some cases, we've had clients, and I know some of you out there have experienced them with me, who they pay their bills and they have a repeated need for our services and they don't sue us, but they're not particularly pleasant to work with. And I think we need in our lives less of those type of people and clients and more of the ones that we actually feel good about what we're doing for them. How does our practice area organization help us provide better services to our clients? That's really, I think, a softball question for me, and I thank whoever submitted it. But the reason the owners decided to change our organization from a geographic series of islands out there doing work in their little markets to a practice area is we wanted to take the best possible services, the best possible talent, and apply it wherever it was needed across the organization. And we're seeing results of that. We see folks in Billings that are helping us on water projects in southeast Alaska. We see transportation experts from Anchorage going to North Dakota and helping us win jobs there. We see us be able to recruit better talent because we're not asking a transportation professional to join a small office. They're joining an army of transportation professionals that happen to be located in different cities. And I could give you a lot of examples of where that's happened in a very short period of time. It's a magical thing to see happening. I know that there's some struggles with our transition to the practice area concept, but there's so many positive things going on that I really think the owners did the right thing when they decided to reorganize DOWL. Well, that concludes this team talk. I want to thank you all for participating. And if you have any suggestions on future topics, please submit them to info@dowll.com. Thank you.